Hey, this is Ryan Treasure from VoiceAmerica.com, leader in live internet talk radio. I'm sitting here in lovely Irvine, California at Speaking Empire's event, and I'm joined by Stephen Greenspan, and we've been having some off-camera fun, really talking about, the importance of organic foods and the importance of not using pesticides and, just kind of a whole bunch of things that hit home to me personally, because I really like homegrown foods and making my garden, and, I was telling you about some of the stuff that I like to grow, and, my wife and I are in the middle of sectioning out like our square foot gardening piece in the backyard to make room for root crop, which is ready to sprout now. So really having a good time talking with Stephen on some of those things, but we'll get into a little bit more of that later on. But Stephen, why don't you tell some of the listeners here what you're all about, what makes you tick, and why do you get up in the morning, and why is this stuff so important to you?
Well, part of my passion is that both nature and kids. And I had a really good childhood. I mean, I have fond memories. I really do. From the littlest 2-3 years old, I was always growing seeds. Mom taught me that if you put a lima bean on a piece of blotter and gave it a little water, you could watch it grow. And that progressed into growing sweet potatoes, where we take a sweet potato and stick it in a cup with some toothpicks in it, and then we could watch that grow. And my dream when I was 3, 4, and 5 was to grow a vine big enough that I can climb up into the sky and hang out with the big giants, which is really what gave it all the fun. So translating that, going fast forward, my passion also being children, I realized that children today have a really big disconnect as to where their food comes from, much less they don't know how to eat properly or how to eat adequately healthy food. So that was my compelling reason to step into the foray and develop an information training program, actually a game, which becomes a contest that teaches children all about growing food organically.
Well, and I really think that is, if there was a time where having good quality, homegrown foods, it was important, now is probably the most important time of any time that there is, because, it's like one of those things that you could never eat healthy enough, in the capacity of vegetables. When you go to the grocery store, it's weird too, because you have, the grocery store is like sectioned off. You have your organic foods over here for $7.93 a pound, and then your non-organic foods on the other side where it's 99 cents a pound, and I think a lot of parents look at that and they go, why would I spend $8 a pound for carrots, when I can spend $1 a pound? But it really does, in some instances, it makes a difference because the food is grown better. It might be more expensive, but what you're bringing to the table is a way for, not only young people to learn about where their stuff comes from, but also have the opportunity to grow some stuff on their own, and then you're not paying anything for any of that vegetables because you're growing it yourself. The fun is all there.
Sure.
Sure.
And
just like you said, that's, one of my passions as well. I grew up in that same, mantra. Mom and I were putting, seeds in foam cups or plastic cups and, growing seeds in any which way we can because, one thing about plants is they're absolutely amazing. They adapt to almost anything and everything. And, what better way to teach kids how to do it than to make it into a game? So how does the game work? Where do kids go find, or parents go find, to introduce that to their kids?
Okay. So basically what happens is twofold. One is what I bring to the table, no pun intended, is that children inherently, if they take an active participatory role in growing their food, studies that have revealed that 98% of the children who grow their own food will end up eating their food, much more so than if you're just serving them something on the table, not knowing from whence it came. And the bigger reality is today that most children, if you ask them, where does their food come from? The answers that I get upon interviewing children ages 3 years old and up is that it comes in a plastic bag, it comes from ShopRite, it comes from Walmart, and hearing that breaks my heart because food doesn't come from those places. Food comes from the ground, it comes from a farmer, it comes from a garden. And when children come to realize that food originates from the garden, and if they have an actual hand in growing and developing that food, from nurturing it from a seed and then watching the miracle of life, give heed to the power of the seed. When that plant emerges and then it goes to flower, and then the fruiting body or the vegetable is produced, that in itself is a miracle because you're looking at the complete cycle of life within that food. That's an amazing thing, scientifically, educationally, entertainment. Take your pick.
And health related too, because growing that food on your own, not only does the child get a chance to check out how the miracle works, but then they're also now consuming food that is pesticide free, and how good it's been taken care of, what water it's been watered with because you did it yourself.
Sure.
I think it goes back to that adage of how proud of yourself you can be when you accomplish something on your own, whether it be growing a garden or building a deck out front of your home or whatever the case may be. I think in anything that you do, you have a higher level of self pride when you're able to accomplish something yourself. And what better way than to instill that into young children at a young age through growing food? I think it's just absolutely amazing.
Sure. So what this does as a game itself is that it instills the self-worth of a child. It gives them the ability to take not only an active role, but it gives them a sense of pride, of ownership in knowing that what they've created is something they can create again and again and again growing older. So as they become young adults and then mature into adulthood, so that as the old saying goes, teach a man to fish and you'll feed him for a lifetime. Teach a child to grow their food and you'll feed them for a lifetime. And especially today, the import or value is in knowing that so much of our food system today has been tainted or has been poisoned either by toxic chemicals, herbicides, or even the GMO foods that are out there now. We don't even know what's going into them anymore, and there's a whole big political thing about whether we even should have a right to know what goes into our food. So having said that, all the more reason why I've taken an active role in developing this program that I've actually did with my younger daughter when she was 3, 4, and 5 years old, and it was no more than 12 inches square, a little garden, and in that little garden we were able to grow in one season peas, carrots, radishes, lettuce, corn, pumpkin, and a couple of beans and a few other products. Not all at once, but seasonally adjusted over a period of 3, 6, 9 months. And as each crop would be harvested, another one would then be planted to fill that space so that the child, or even the adult in this case, because parents will participate with their children, get to see the sequence of events that lead up to the preparation of a garden, the care and maintenance or the nurturance of a garden, the actual harvesting, which can be a heck of a lot of fun, and then the celebration of life by eating the food that you grew.
That's the problem I always have is eating the food. I go out in my garden, and I check on it every other day, making sure the water is good. And I've even set up an automatic water system because I'm lazy. But I also work a lot. But my problem is I go out into the garden and the food never makes it back into the kitchen because I've eaten all the radishes before I could get into the house.
Got to watch out for those nibblers. And so, again, while children get to see all this happening, it gives them educationally something, gives them boasting rights. Because what happened with my daughter when she and I did this together as a parent-child activity, and I was a divorced dad, so I only got to see my kid on alternating weekends at the time, it gave us a shared experience that she would then go back to her schoolmates and say, my dad and I, we grew a pumpkin that weighs 50 pounds and you got to see it. And then one day we grew enough, I think it was watermelon, that we actually brought them into school and we cut the watermelon up and we gave it out to all of her classmates. And it gave my daughter, she was the most famous kid in the class for that day, which is so important to children, because here she was boastfully sharing the watermelon that she grew with the help of her dad. So that became a memorable experience as well as one that gave her the boasting rights.
And also gave her, a set of social status for the day that she would have never gotten, and you gave that to her.
Right, made her very cool amongst her peers. So going afterwards, we also took another step where I taught her how to harvest and how to make maple syrup. And one weekday in school, we actually had a maple syrup pancake event that we sponsored, she and I, where we came in and we made the pancakes and everyone got to sample her maple syrup that she made at home with her dad. By the way, that's a whole nother sequence, another story. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you got to stop talking about pancakes, or I'm going to have to walk off set and go get some pancakes because I love pancakes. But tell all the listeners out there, all the viewers, where can they find this information? Where do they sign up? Because I think it's really important that we get the word out about this game and really get parents and kids interacting in it. I think it's if there is a top 5 list of things that I feel are very important, I would put this on in that list of top 5 things is making sure kids understand about how to grow their own food.
So one other thing to share is that this kit also employs the newer technology of augmented reality. And what that basically boils down to is that each seed packet that comes included in this kit, by the way, is a self-contained entity. It gives you all the necessary vital ingredients as well as physical things to build out your garden without having to run out to the store and pick up odds and ends. The augmented reality component is that each seed type is a character. So when you hover your smart device, either a phone or a tablet, over the packet of seeds, the seeds actually comes to life with an embedded message, which has been previously stored in the cloud. So if you're growing, let's say, carrots, and you want to show what carrots look like in caricature marching down the garden pathway, this tablet will do that for you. So it's cartoonized, of course, and then when you remove the tablet, the images disappear. The place to go is the name of this is called KidsLoveOrganicGardening.com. KidsLoveOrganicGardening.com. They can go there. They can look for more information. They can sign up there, be put on the mailing list. As we start to enroll and launch this product, we'll give you updates and keep you abreast of the latest things going on.
Well, that's absolutely fantastic, Steve. Thank you for taking the time to talk to our listeners about those things. One more time, give them that website.
KidsLoveOrganicGardening.com.
So go check out KidsLoveOrganicGardening.com, and hopefully you can also, assist in helping your kids kind of learn some of these necessary tools for life. And Steve, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Okay, and by the way, kids have fun getting dirty.
They sure do. Thanks, Steve.